There are some surprising college football playoff rankings from the latest rankings released on Tuesday night. I'm genuinely surprised. And I'm surprised because for the most part, they stayed the same. I thought that you start the baseline in week one with your, okay, we are going to rank the resumes 1 through 4, and that gets you in. And then we'll kind of leave the door open for 5 through 8. And then we'll set up the rankings to make sure that 1 through 4 have some opportunities against 10 through 25 to increase or decrease a resume here or there. But the top 4 staying pat, I was surprised by, because you start with the resumes and then you rank Ohio State number 1, and then you see them struggle in the first half against Rutgers and go, okay, now we've got reason to put Georgia number 1. That is not what happened at all. They left 1 through 4 the same. Washington stays at 5. And I somewhat have I don't know if the problem is the word, but I have a problem with Washington and Oregon and Texas and Alabama kind of being treated like bonded dogs. Like, you have to have these two together. You have to take these two together, because Washington is 1 spot above Oregon, which essentially is saying, and Oregon ranked as the best 1-loss team, I find interesting. But if you are ranking by resume, how is Texas? It's weird, because if you look at 6, 7, 8, Oregon, Texas, Alabama beat Ole Miss, who is number 9. So obviously they have to be in front. Texas beat Alabama, who is number 8. Texas is number 7. Oregon is number 6. So the committee, now 2 weeks in, has been like super on the record that, hey, we believe Oregon is the best 1-loss team right now, and that Washington is the worst undefeated team right now. So to me, the message sent is, Washington, you are lucky that Dan Lanning made a bunch of stupid decisions in the Oregon game, because we believe that Oregon is probably better than you, but we can't rank you. We can't rank Oregon above you until you lose. But at the same time, it certainly appears as if the committee doesn't believe they can't rank Alabama above Texas, because Texas beat Alabama. So, I guess I don't understand the principles or the thought process of it. It seems as if they are waiting for Washington to lose so they can rank Oregon above them. And yet, Alabama might be one of the most entertaining teams in America right now. And I don't think that the committee would ever consider entertaining the idea of ranking Alabama above Texas, because Texas put a whooping on them in their home stadium. So I find that kind of dichotomy fascinating. And it's similar later on down the line of okay, Kansas is ranked 16th, Oklahoma is ranked 17th. Well, in this theory, you have to rank Kansas at number 16, or I guess you don't have to rank them at number 16. You just have to rank them above Oklahoma because they beat Oklahoma. Okay, I get that to a point. But if Texas is better than Alabama, is Texas better than Oregon? Does Alabama have a better resume right now than Oregon does? Yeah. Yeah, they do. Does Alabama have a better resume than Texas right now? You could probably argue that. Should head-to-head matter? Yeah, it should. So there's so many different things that you've got to weigh and waffle and factor into your decisions to rank these schools 1 through 25. that it ends up being kind of a circle theory where, like, okay, how do you prioritize what? Like, if you're prioritizing resumes, which it appears they are, Ohio State's ranked number 1, Georgia's ranked number 2, Michigan's ranked number 3, Florida State's ranked number 4. I think you could argue that Florida State has a better resume than Michigan. Florida State might have a better resume than Georgia. So there are like competing ideologies here of we're ranking resumes. Because if you were to ask the committee members blindly, like, hey, I need you to rank who you think the best team is right now, I don't think Ohio State would be the answer. But I think there's enough wherewithal to say, hey, we are going to rank these schools by resume, right? Like we are going to do this by resume because that's the most bulletproof thing. The eye test is subjective. You can say Michigan looks like the best team in the country. I think you can argue that. I think there are some extenuating circumstances that might lead to Michigan looking like the best team in the country, but that's not neither here nor there. Florida State looks really good to me. Washington appears to be the most explosive team in the country. Ohio State is pretty good defensively and is somewhat efficient offensively. They're not explosive. They're not the juggernaut that they have been. But there are no truly great going down in the history of the annals of college football teams right now, which makes it fun because I think any of the, top 8 schools in the country right now could beat any of the other 8 schools in the country. But if you're going to rank based on resume, Alabama has a stronger resume than Texas. Alabama has a stronger resume than Oregon. Washington has a stronger resume than Georgia. So there are conflicting messages being sent by the committee because in some cases, and I think it's easy to say, hey, if Texas beat Alabama, Alabama has to be ranked, or if Texas beat Alabama, Texas has to be ranked ahead of them. If Washington beat Oregon, they have to be ranked ahead of them. If Florida State beat LSU, they have to be ranked ahead of them. Kansas beat Oklahoma, they have to be ranked ahead of them. That makes logical sense. Like, yes, that all tracks. If Oklahoma State beat Oklahoma, they have to be ranked ahead of them. And that matters, it appears, until it doesn't. And then you're looking at the rankings going like, okay, so Alabama beat Ole Miss, therefore Alabama's ranked ahead of Ole Miss. Texas beat Alabama, therefore Texas is ahead of Alabama. But we're ranking based on resume. Okay, so if you believe that, what has Oregon done to be ranked ahead of Texas or Alabama? They have a great loss. Okay. Like that. I've always believed in the, like, I don't necessarily care who you lost to. Who did you beat? Because you can explain away or excuse a whole lot of losses. There aren't a whole lot of excuses / explanations, whatever, for like lack of wins. Who did you beat that should make me go like, you know what? That's a good win. There aren't generally a ton of those. And if you had an opportunity, especially when we get down to the nitty gritty here, like Michigan is going to have the opportunity to beat the number 1 team in the country. Ohio State is going to have the opportunity to beat one of the best 4 teams in America. And when you get to the college football playoff final rankings, I find it difficult to not say, like, you had your shot and you didn't get it done. Like, you had an opportunity to be in the Final Four. So if everything stands pat how it is right now, if everything finishes the way we all expect it to, and it's Ohio State, Georgia, Michigan, Florida State, and Washington in the top 5 going into the final week of the season, whoever loses Ohio State, Michigan doesn't really have my sympathy because You've essentially had a playoff chance. You had an opportunity to prove you were one of the 4 best teams in the country, and you didn't do it. I don't know that I love the idea of you getting another opportunity. Because just as a football fan, like, you had your chance and you didn't do it. I would rather see Washington get their chance, or Oregon, Texas, Alabama get their chance. And really, make no mistake about it, Alabama is going to have the same chance that Ohio State and Alabama is going to have an opportunity to play Georgia in the SEC championship game. And they're going to have the opportunity to prove that they're one of the 4 best teams in the country. And if they do that, congratulations, put their ass in. If they don't, sorry, you didn't get it. You didn't get it done. And the same for Georgia. You had the opportunity to prove you were one of the 4 best teams in the country. You didn't do it. Okay. Sorry about your luck. Guess what? Washington, you're up. Guess what? Oregon, you're up. Texas, whoever. I just don't have a ton of sympathy for those teams that lose those games. Because if your argument, and this was my thought process last year, when at the end of the season, was Alabama one of the 6 best teams in the country? Yeah. And Nick Saban threw a hissy fit because they didn't get the chance to be in the college football playoff. Well, you lost 2 games. And for the previous 8 years before that, basically your argument was win all your games and you don't have to worry about the committee, blah, 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 blah. Well, you lost twice. You might be the best team in the country at the end of the season, but you lost twice. That has to matter. So I don't have a whole lot of sympathy for the teams that get the opportunities that Ohio State's going to have, that Georgia's going to have, that Michigan's going to have, that conceivably Washington or Oregon's going to have again, Alabama. If you get the opportunity to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that you are one of the 4 best teams in the country and you don't take that opportunity, sorry. Is it fair? No, probably not. Does it suck? Yeah. But I don't know what you want from me. I don't know what else you're looking for. But that's just where I sit, is like, hey, listen, if you make the conference championship game, or somebody that's highly regarded is still on your schedule and you don't get the job done, you got an opportunity that a lot of schools don't get. And if you didn't make the most of it, you didn't take the opportunity. I'm sorry, but I can't look past the opportunities that you had and go, well, it's really hard to win. Yeah, that's sort of the point. Championship caliber teams, it's hard to win. It's hard to beat them. I still think you can lose. Like the loser of Ohio State, Michigan, are they still one of the 4 best teams in the country? Certainly. And I'm not saying they shouldn't be in the college football playoff. I'm just saying you had your opportunity. And if it was my made-for-TV special, which is what this is, I would find it difficult to say, you know what, we're still going to put that team that lost in over somebody else. I just don't think that's all that easy to do. Again, you can lose. Like, if Michigan and Ohio State are the 2 best teams in America and one of them loses, that doesn't mean one should drop to number 5. But you had your chance and you didn't get it done. I don't have a whole lot of sympathy for, yeah, but it was really hard. Okay. Well, congratulations. But you got presented the chance that not many other schools get, and you didn't bank the most of it. I find it hard to just pound the table and say you are definitively championship caliber at that point. But I don't think it's a coincidence that there are some matchups looking forward that are going to provide opportunities for teams that are 1 through 4 to be matched with teams that are 5 through 8, or teams that are 5 through 8 to propel themselves up into 1 through 4 because of their schedules going forward. College Football Playoff Committee, for all the criticism they get, aren't stupid. They know what they're doing. And what they're doing is telegraphing some stuff going forward. That'll do it for today's episode of the Daily Huddle. Appreciate you making us a part of your day, however it is, wherever it is you're doing so. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you're getting all the great college football content we're pumping out here at Saturday Glory. If you are listening on the podcast, give us a 5-star review. It goes a long way in helping us get in front of more college football fans. Be back tomorrow making the picks for the weekend. See you then here on the Daily Huddle. Saturday Glory.